Oklahoma being what's called the Wild West of weed, a lesson we've learned from California. High taxes, high regulation has proven to be the #1 friend of the black market.
I'm at a cannabis farm under construction by Ball Family Farms, a California-based cannabis company. But I'm in Oklahoma, which is not California. Why?
You're looking at a quarter of the cost to build it there,
Right.
and an eighth of the time.
I like the fact that, someone like myself or my wife could potentially start her own business for $2,500, and we have a fair shot at competing with larger brands. As in California, you really have to surround yourself with, heavy investment and partners to make the dream happen.
To get a license at my farm was, over 2 years. Getting the property up to code in the millions of dollars. In Oklahoma, you can get a cultivation license in 3 weeks, about $3,000, or this was at least the case for the first 3.5 years of the program.
Percentage-wise, we're about 20%, I'd say, cheaper cost per pound than our California teams.
Just to manufacture a pound, 20% less.
Yeah, a little bit more lax on restrictions. There's no cap on licenses, and it's really just more of a free market.
Oklahoma set themselves, that's how they wanted to do it.
Right.
It's not make it as difficult. So now you're able to produce a great product at a fraction of the cost.
I looked into the California to Oklahoma pipeline and found a whole lot of companies from California that have a presence in the Sooner State. I'm Adam Shorn, and this is The Green Room.
I don't need a map to show me the way back to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma legalized medical cannabis in June of 2018, and from there, business exploded. Partially due to the low threshold to get a medical cannabis card, you just need to tell the doctor that you need one. Nearly about 10% of the population now has one, and partly because of how straightforward and inexpensive it is to get a license in Oklahoma. It's a flat fee of $2,500, compared to California, where it costs anywhere from a couple $100s for a small-scale grow up to several thousands of dollars for a large-scale operation. And to date, more than 12,000 businesses have gotten a license in Oklahoma.
We've got the most open and inclusive medical cannabis program in the country, from business licensing to access to patients.
I think there's examples from other states where their regulations were much tighter, but keep in mind our voters voted this in, and it was written by the industry. It wasn't written by our legislators. Some of the writers felt that we don't want to put so many restrictions that it's that only big marijuana can get involved, that the mom and pops would be shut out.
So the state question that legalized medical marijuana in Oklahoma just required a doctor visit stating any condition, any medical condition, and then the doctor.
So there wasn't like a laundry list of these things. There was like anything.
Yes,
Okay.
and then a patient can apply online and pay a $100 fee, and they receive their patient license in about a week after they apply.
Oklahoma has no cap on the number of dispensaries or farms. The state currently has 8,014 licensed cultivators and 2,301 licensed dispensaries. That's compared to California, which has 913 licensed dispensaries and 8,757 licensed cultivators.
We became the national champions of medical cannabis almost overnight. We have close to 400,000 patient card holders. Our industry exploded with it created 45,000 jobs in the space of under 2 years. In California, I understand that there are not enough dispensaries. In Oklahoma, we have saturation of dispensaries.
You do have to have 75% ownership of the company be with an Oklahoman.
Okay.
So that's required by statute.
Okay.
You can't just move here from out of state or out of country and come straight to Oklahoma and start a business. You do have to have Oklahoma ties.
Well, Oklahoma is always viewed through the lens of, here's what all the other states are doing. Why are they weird? Well, this is what freedom looks like.
Yeah.
And that's why we've got so many people from other states like California that have come here.
Right.
Because, where they have been pushed out by regulation, high fees, they can come to Oklahoma and participate.
We are in our facilities, our grow facilities for Ball Family Farms in Crescent, Oklahoma. I met Chris and we became like family. During that time, when I moved back, when the law started, moved back to Oklahoma. Okay. I had twins, and so we moved back here to be close to family. And I stayed in touch with Chris because we were so close. And when the law started to change and it started to become like it was going to pass medical, I called, yes, I did. I called Chris and I said, you got to get down here. You've got to come now. The cost of doing business here is so much less expensive than anywhere else in the country. So that's why I was like, you really have to come. This is going to be our warehouse that all of our product leaves out of. We'll go into processing and labs. As we go back, we'll have dry rooms, clone rooms, mom rooms, and then an additional grow room in the back.
But what's going to be in that building?
All grow.
All grow, okay. This is where
the magic happens.
Okay.
This is it. This is it. This is super exciting for us. We spent a long time envisioning all of this. Everything plays our way perfectly the way we want it to. There'll be at least two additional buildings
this size
on this property that are this size that mirror this operation, as well as two separate large greenhouses.
So this is the clone nursery.
Clone nursery is about 40 different varieties of cannabis, maybe.
Yeah, we probably have about 40 right now.
We've been battling with the county of Humboldt on cannabis licenses, and we just decided that this was a better opportunity for us. It was more of a free market than the regulated, isolated, and filled with bureaucracy market that California has become. This is all a contract grow for someone. Someone contracted us to grow this plant for them, and they do it every 2 or 3 months. Then they take this plant and put it directly into their flower room. They flower it. If you're a brand in California or any other state, you have a great opportunity in Oklahoma with licensing agreements with people like us or other people.
We are a manufacturer and distribution channel. So we manufacture everything here on site and then distribute full statewide. We work closely with the brands from out of state. They supply all of our packaging, obviously, the branded packaging, but all the biomass is still made in Oklahoma per the laws, right? So we source from all of the top quality farms in Oklahoma. Currently we have 5 California brands. You want to taste an edible in California and be able to come to Oklahoma and have it taste the exact same way, right? Same would go with anything in a pre-roll, a cart. Matching that profile is first and foremost the most important.
Is that a challenge? Because nothing can legally cross state lines?
Right, yeah, no, it's somewhat challenging, but there's so much availability in the market these days that we can really fine tune and get it almost exactly to where it's the exact same product.
The deal that we do specific to Stash House is we basically sell them packaging with our margin already baked in, and then that allows them to have a limited license to use our likeness, logos, any of our creative assets.
You license the name, so they grow it in?
They source, they have also their own farm. We design blends and they manufacture. I've gone down and walked them through our SOPs, standard operating procedures. But ultimately the trick is just partnering with a grade A organization, and then they know how to do it.
While more regulation is being discussed, it's not a popular idea, even as the state combats a bumper crop of illegal farms that have popped up, many with ties to out-of-state players.
We started to see things change around September and October of 20. So 2 years after the passage and the first licenses started going out. That's when we started getting calls about foreign investors coming in, knocking on doors, sack full of cash, and asking, are you interested in selling your property? There were people in Oklahoma who went to California and said, hey, you need a license? They would put on seminars. We'll teach you how to do it, and we'll tell you how to do it, and we'll show you where to do it. And so because we saw some of these flyers, and they were usually in Chinese and Mandarin, but our interpreter said, it's basically saying, come to our seminar, we'll teach you how to do it.
What we see are what we call hit and run operations. You'll have organized crime will come in, they'll drop $500,000, $2 million on land purchases, throwing up an operation. The plant cycles roll quick, so they can come in and get 1, 2, 3, 4 plant cycles in, ship all that product out.
We've had them tell us we can grow as a criminal organization for as little as $100 a pound. That's unheard of.
I think that we left a door open for several years, and the message to a lot of other people in other states and other countries was, hey, come to Oklahoma because they're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's why it got on the governor's radar, it got on the legislature's radar, and they said, we've got to do something about this. We've got to get a handle on it.
First of all, we've got a full-time marijuana enforcement unit at our agency. We've gotten a commitment from our legislator to fund a full-time unit. Prior to this, we were trying to deal with these allegations about farms and work investigations, while these agents are also spinning dozens of other, we deal with fentanyl and meth and cocaine traffickers, and we've got human trafficking unit that we work here. So they're trying to work all of this with, we didn't have a full-time focus on this problem. We didn't need one.
We will know that the licensed businesses that are licensed by OMMA are playing by the rules because we're actually out better regulating the industry. And to me, that's going to be the key to actually cutting down on black market or anyone that's trying to skirt the rules. Compliance officers going out and doing inspections.
Okay.
We had about 17 last May at the end of legislative session, and we have 56 now.
Okay.
We're still staffing up because we want to have people all across the state.
We actually just approved the law. It's called Metric. It's a tracking system, and it basically tracks the plant from its infancy. So it's essentially like a seed to sale tracking system. So every seed will get an RFID code, a little sticker, and that's assigned to that seed for its lifespan.
Metric coming on is going to be an incredible help. It's one of those things where you have a lot of people in, like, the good ones that can hang are going to rise and the ones that can't are going to fall. And so then it will regulate out the market.
They're already talking about increasing the licensing fee, which we understand here, and I think you're already seeing a high cost of land over the last 3 years, but we're chasing far behind where California stands today.
I think what I'm hearing is that not necessarily the answer to fine-tuning Oklahoma's program isn't so much more regulation, but more enforcement of the current regulations to at least give you a bead as to where you're headed.
Right, yeah, we don't want to overregulate. Like you said, Oklahoma is a free market state.
Right.
We
and
want
prides
the market
itself, Oklahoma sort of prides itself on
business friendly. And Yes, yeah.
So.
And I see the market, it can't last like this forever if people are playing by the rules. And so once we start enforcing the rules more consistently across the board, I think the market will work itself out.
But medicinal cannabis isn't the end for some.
Why recreational when you have such an open program? Because at the end of the day, it's not done until it's done. Recreational, even at a national level, is a matter of when, not if. And so what we want to do is we want to go ahead, and we believe that people should have that as an individual freedom. The legislature has actually gone into this full reverse mode, and we've got a huge number of bills that are at a certain level attempting to more or less shut the program down, which astounds us considering that we created 45,000 jobs and we're supposed to be open for business. And some of my more catty friends like to say that nothing turns a conservative into a communist faster than cannabis.
We saw it in California, we saw it in Oregon, we saw it in Washington, saw it in Colorado, and we're seeing it here. 3 years-ish for the industry to meet the demand in medical, and then it'll legalize for adult use, and it'll take 2 or 3 years for it to meet that demand.
Right.
They're gonna legalize adult use here. It's gonna open up the whole marketplace. And we believe Oklahoma is going to be the center of cannabis production. Sorry, Humboldt, the center of cannabis production in the country.
Well, what does this mean for California? While the cost of starting and operating a cannabis business varies greatly from state to state, many are far less expensive and far less strict than California. And that could become a problem for the Golden State in the future.
I think we're set up really well to be a central hub because of our location within the United States, but also because of the amount of cannabis that's already been grown here, the experience that we have in the state.
The long play is that we can create this magnificent product at a fraction of the cost to make it affordable for all Americans. And since we're in the middle of, Central America at that point, we can transport to different states.
If it becomes federally legal.
If it becomes federally legal,
okay.
If they allow you to come in. Yeah. Just like in California, it's state legal here, but there's a lot of cities that say, no, you can't be here.
We're slowly training the market what good looks like, and then we have these influences from these companies that have been kicking it, for a long time, and they really know how to do it well. So we're really, yes, exactly, a track record. So we have to train our market right now. We're all learning in this together, and we are getting a lot of influences from those outside states that have been doing this for a minute. And you know, in a couple of years, Oklahoma is going to be, you know, the place.
You see any instance in which it comes back to bite California on the ass, so to speak?
It already has. Our market is a joke. I mean, we're literally going to do $3 billion in 2021. Oklahoma has 3.8 million people, and they did over $1 billion. We have 38 million people, plus we're the second most visited state.
California is never going to be a market where you can let it go and not compete here. This is where it starts. You know, this is one of the largest markets in the world. So you will just always have to pay to play to be here. Now, if they do allow brands to, you know, transport product in, I do believe a lot of the cultivators and a lot of these businesses will kind of go away to different states so that we can create it at a reasonable price point for Californians as well.
We joke about, you know, when federal legalization happens, that Oklahoma being in the middle of the United States with, you know, cheaper energy, cheaper rent, and other expenses, we might end up shipping our, you know, cannabis back to our friends in California.
Many companies would like to see California change its regulations so that they can continue to do business and thrive in the state. But will the state act, or will there be a reverse trend where businesses look east to new frontiers where conducting business is cheaper and easier?
Don't need your champagne, keep your watch and gold chain. I'm a retired